Welcome back to take two. I ended up pressing the button by accident, so now I have to redo this all over again. Anyways, doesn't match. I don't think. Laval Landlord, pretty much just an instant summon. If you want to bring it out right away, you don't need a tribute for it, but let's just bring that out. And before it just gets destroyed at the end of the turn, use like Spiritual Fire Art Kurenai or something, because you can inflict damage as well when it's before the end phase if you can activate Spiritual Fire Art before then. Laval Miller, it's just a milling card. When you mill that, it's good to mill it with Handmaiden, just so you get Handmaiden's effect. You get more monsters out effectively. If you can pull it off, then good for you. Kotel is a great example of how using Miller, because Miller will easily get out Kotel, because Kotel can be special from your hand if you have like Laval monsters in your graveyard with different names, but there has to be at least three of them. Next up is the cannon. If you keep banishing your Lavals, if you have a Judgment Lord that's banished, you can use Cannon's effect when it's summoned to special summon Judgment Lord back to the field, and then you can pretty much just run over your opponent's monsters. So keep that in mind, because that's what's going to help you if you're building a Laval deck. Handmaiden. You can combo this card pretty well. I suggest running at least 3 of them, or run as many as you want depending on how you build your Laval deck. And when you run it, just go by what it does, and it makes it a lot easier. Well, it makes your life easier if you can pull it off. Next up, Force Sprite. Now, Force Sprite is something you want destroyed, not destroyed, but sent from the field to the graveyard. Even if it's for a Synchro or Z summon, you're still good, because it gives your monsters 200 points for each Laval in the graveyard to the end phase. So it pretty much powers them up for that turn. So it's well worth it. And it works on either turn too. So Won't War on Walls, also a good card. Makes your monsters extremely high power if you have Lavals in your graveyard. You can use it if you want. It's optional, and it is kind of recommended, because it also makes it so your monsters are harder to take out, especially if you got ones that are like unaffected by spells and traps, or just unaffected by spells or something, or whatever you got that's got immunity of some sort. So yeah, use that if you want. Molten Conduction Field, just mills, nothing else. It's a good card for this deck. I recommend it. Now, Cannoneer can be a problem if you don't get rid of it. If your opponent stalls and then they end up just keep sending fire monsters to the grave, you take burn damage. Not fun. So take that out with something or whatever. Also, if you're using Cannoneer, they can negate the effect, or they can stop you in your tracks with like all these like effect negation thingies, or something that reverses the effect damage. Laval Lakeside Lady. Not a bad card. It's got a good effect. Well, not good, but decent rather. I know a lot of you will disagree with me on that, but you know what? You guys can use it the way you want. I use it the way I want. Anyways, it just pretty much banishes it in one level. Just target one set card and then destroy it. But set card has to be on your opponent's side of the field, so it can be a spell, trap, or face down monster. But it has to be in the graveyard, and you have to have at least 3 more Lavals with different names. 3 or more Lavals with different names in the graveyard. So this is pretty much how the deck runs. So Guard Mines. Guard Mines is a great card. So if someone targets your monster to be destroyed, activate it, the effects negate it, and you're safe, plus they take 500. Judgment Lord, he's pretty much a superconductor of the Laval series. Not much to say about him, just go with it. Like I said, just ignore the ban cards, because they don't need to be explained. Laval Warrior pretty much inflicts extra damage when he destroys an opponent's monster. If you have, I believe it's 4 more Laval monsters with different names in your grave. So running 3 of those would be nice. Is nice. Laval Burner. It's a really decent card. It's pretty much the Cyber Dragon of the Laval series. Only it gets the effect even when there's a monster on your side of the field. It's worth running. Go ahead and run it. 3 is the best to run with the burners. Same with cannons and stuff. Once again, ignore the ban cards because they don't need to be explained. Because there's probably gonna be a lot of people. There's a lot of people that play like legit duels and stuff with like no ban cards. What's next? Oh, here we go. Burial from a Different Dimension. This is a great card, a must-have in a Laval deck. Because it does a lot of banishing, so this pretty much returns banished cards back to the owner's graveyards. So that way you can reuse them. It's a good card. I suggest running it. You can even run 3 if you want. Laval Flogus. This is also a power boosting card, except it's a permanent effect. Especially when it's banished. So run 3 of those, you're good. Yeah, so and Searing Firewall. Great card. You just banish 5 like Lavals in the grave to summon 5 tokens. Then just sacrifice them off. Get like a big monster to the field. It doesn't matter which level. Now here's where it gets interesting. Laval Dragon. This is a decent card. It's got a lot of weaknesses to it. Because the fact that most people can get around it because of its like decent attack. Anything with 2,000 or less attack is pretty much a chump monster, which means it can easily be gotten around. But yeah, it pretty much returns monsters from your graveyard back in the deck, and then you can just return a card on your opponent's side of the field and just send it back to the hand. Laval Slasher. If you have like 3 or more Lavals in the grave, he pretty much gains not only piercing, but he can attack again if he attacks a defense position monster. So you get an extra attack, and it only affects like each one if it depends how many there are. Laval the Greater. Great. Now this card isn't the best, but he can prevent himself from being destroyed by card effects by banishing a Laval monster in the graveyard. So if someone activates a Mirror Force, you can use Laval the Greater to stop it. Or like someone activates Tarantula, you can do the same thing. This is pretty much the only Laval monster in this deck that can pretty much get past spells and traps and monster effects. So you're pretty safe by using them. Laval Dragoon. Oh yeah, by the way, Laval the Greater is also good for getting around Dark Hole and stuff. Can't forget that. Anyways, Laval Dragoon. This is a great card. Sure, you can add one Laval monster from your deck to your hand, but then you send one from your hand to the grave, so... But you know what? It's worth it, especially with its high attack. And it's good for like overlaying for rank 6, so... Next up, Laval Stenin. This thing is unfreaking believable. Probably the highest attacking Laval synchro in the set. So just send a card from the hand to the grave, and it's during either player's turn. You can target it when it's targeted by effect, banish 1 Laval, and negate the activation, and then destroy the targeting card. So pretty much similar to Dragoons, except not Dragoon. Laval the Greater, except it only works on targeting ones. Igneous. And my god, that looks like Dormammu. No, seriously, people. Laval Igneous looks like Dormammu. Here, look at the head. Now you see? Anyways, as I was saying, it pretty much gets the effect when Laval Igneous battles during either turn and damage step. Just remove an overlay, gains 500 attack until the end phase. So you can put it up to, I think, 23, I think? Yeah, 23. And last but not least, Laval Chain. I think this is the only Sea Serpent Fire-type monster in the series. So yeah, it has a couple good effects. Like, you can either send a card from the deck to the grave, like from your deck, Brat, to be specific, or you can choose one monster from your deck and put it on top of your deck. So you can stack your deck with him. It's quite easy to utilize. And I'll do it for the Laval deck. Sorry I had to retake this. Oh, you know what? We'll see you all next time when I do another, tip. Duh.